Today is the day that we start to piece together the Drift C6 Corvette. So in the last video, I showed you guys my insanely wild, fully custom Texas Speed NA 440. This is going to be the heart and the soul of my Drift C6 Corvette, and basically what we are building everything from. So this is still wild. I am pinching myself. This is the most beautiful engine I have ever seen. Also in the last video, I told you guys that I decided to go front mount transmission, get rid of the torque tube, for many reasons. One of the biggest ones being that this is a competition car and I want to have the serviceability of that be as good as possible, and I want it to be more reliable and just give us less issues if we run into anything at the track. So today I have another unboxing of a wild part and huge key factor for this build. Any guesses? Here it is, you guys. This is another G Force GSR, but this time it's for the C6. So I absolutely love the GSR unit that is in my 3-rotor car. It is incredible, and for front mount, I couldn't think of a better transmission than this. So this is going to be hooked up to our 440 via this McLeod bell housing. There was actually a few weeks where I was freaking out because I didn't think that I'd be able to get a bell housing to connect our GSR to LS. They're pretty much out of stock right now across the US. I was calling everywhere and McLeod didn't even have one in stock. They literally like scavenged some parts to make me one. So that really might be one of the last ones that was currently in the US, but your girl got it. So this is the game plan for the car. I'm really excited to be working with G Force transmissions on this build as well. Initially, I was going to just build the T56 transmission and build that with G Force internals and turn that into a 4-speed. Now, when I started looking into doing that, I realized that not only would I be going from 6 to a 4-speed, it would be built way stronger and that would be amazing, but I couldn't hook up a quick change diff if I were to do that. Which brings me to my next announcement and the next part that I got for this car, which is also a pretty big deal. Boom! Your girl got her very first winter's quick change diff. Depending on different tracks that we're at, I really want to be able to change gearing if I need to based on the track. I also have these insane brackets by RTS that literally make the quick change for the rear a bolt-in solution. So all of these are really high quality, full billet. Those brackets right there are just going to bolt straight to our rear subframe. I'm gonna throw the winter's quick change in there. We're gonna get our G Force GSR transmission mounted up in the front and then have a custom drive shaft made by Drive Shaft Shop. And then from there, I'll also need custom axles as well. There's a lot of pieces to put together in this puzzle behind me. I think this is the first time I'm really like starting with just a bare shell. Like, we are wanting to go through absolutely everything, take our time, be meticulous with it. It's pretty wild. All of these pieces are what we're gonna be starting fitting today. So today we're gonna actually see what the Texas Speed 440 looks like in this car, and then probably start working on fitting the quick change in the rear and see where our transmission might end up fitting. Because we're definitely gonna have to do a lot of cutting, but I'm very excited to get started on this puzzle today. here are our brackets. Now I actually ordered my Winters LSD before I got these brackets, and I didn't realize that in order to make the Winters fit in the back of the Corvette and with these brackets, you're actually going to be putting it upside down. So if you don't have it modified, it'll actually be running in reverse. So right now, I'm actually waiting on a new one from Winters to be sent out, but for now, we're going to be using this one, which is actually Adam's, to mock up everything with our brackets and start test fitting everything. Wow. Success. It's officially in. We're pretty much done now, right?
That's it.
That's it. We're good. Let's go. Oh man, there's not a lot of space in here.
Not in the back, that's for sure.
Where's that bell housing gonna go?
Where's the transmission gonna go?
Chop chop.
Yeah.
More surgery needed. All of that is probably gonna end up getting cut out and put like a quick release tunnel over it or something, right?
Yep, gonna get rid of all that.
It looks good though.
It looks sick.
So at least it's motivation while working on it. You know,
It looks good.
when time gets tough, you just stare at the valve covers for a little while. Oh, it's so pretty. First impressions?
Oh, it's tiny. I don't remember it being so small.
This is not a space for a torque tube no more.
At least we got a little transmission to go in there.
Yeah, true. Well, should I just bring out the grinder?
It's on right there.
Is it? Oh wow.
But once a clutch is on and everything, it's gonna have to go out much further than this to come off of the transmission and everything.
Yeah. I thought it wouldn't even line up without
you're
stuff
crazy.
being cut, so that's sick. We wrapped up the engine bay because this is going to be a pretty tedious process. It's just gonna be a lot of engine in, engine out, engine in, engine out. Nick has already put on our bell housing, which I'm surprised that it fit with no cutting so far. We still have to get the clutch in there, but that is a good first step. It's a good sign. We also have our G Force GSR all the way out of its package now, so you can check this unit out. Again, this is exactly what I have in my 3-rotor RX-7 back there, which I love. So for my clutch setup, I wanted to work with Monster Clutch. So they're well known for their LS setups. They're a big go-to. I got introduced to them through Cletus, and for this build, we're gonna be pairing up their twin disc Monster Clutch R series onto the car. So this R series clutch was customized by them to go to our G Force GSR, and on this I just got their standard weight flywheel. All right, so as expected, the transmission does not fit. It is right now currently meant for a torque tube. So First thing we're gonna do, Nick's just gonna start chopping away. Okay, it's the next day. So far, things are going pretty well. Nick just spent most of the last part of the day cutting this area out. Now, if you notice, there's this tab here that basically goes pretty far down and it went all the way up. So Nick was just cutting that thick tab completely off because that alone was preventing the GSR from even kind of going up. So now the bulk of the transmission has space to go up. Where we're getting stuck now is on the shifter. So this is kind of hitting where it's opened for the shifter. So the shifter obviously needs to go up right here. And it's sort of hitting this front side and it's more in the center versus this is offset to the side. So now Nick needs to start cutting the car from the inside. And I think we're just gonna cut this forward and just straight over. Once the shifter can actually go all the way through, then we'll have a much better idea of how that transmission is supposed to sit, how it's supposed to be angled, and all of that. And then we'll figure out if we need to cut anything else further up here. From the inside, you can just see how far to the left towards the driver that is for the stock shifter placement. And on the GSR, our shifter is ending up not only towards the front here, but obviously in the center. So we're gonna do one big clean cut and end up putting a tunnel piece over that. Once the shifter has space to move up, we can then see what part of the transmission is gonna start to hit in this area. So basically all the cutting that we're doing right now is just to have a really good idea of where the transmission is going to end up, because you don't want to finalize any transmission bracket until you have your rear end set up. That way we will know exactly the trajectory of the drive shaft, make sure everything is perfectly in line, because the engine might need to be tilted more or less, the transmission might need to have a greater or less tilt in it, so that the rest of the driveline is just lined up in the ideal position. It's definitely going to be a tedious process, but we're just trying to do everything as best as we can. That being said, the next thing that we're going to be doing is dropping our rear subframe. Now I really want to get this thing cleaned up, maybe powder coated or painted. I'm just not sure how much time we're gonna have for all that stuff, but we need to drop it for sure and then start to work on installing our quick change. You actually have to take apart the front of our quick change in order to fully mount up our RTS brackets that then go to the subframe. So that is going to be one of the things that Nick starts on tomorrow, because Chris and I are going to Las Vegas for a quick 24-hour trip. It has to do with driving some really, really cool cars with some fun girls. So I'm really excited about that trip. I just wanted to give you guys the lowdown and all the Corvette updates before I leave. And Chris is working on something really, really cool right now that I'm excited to show you guys. It is finally time for me to reveal to you guys what we have been cooking up in the House of Pre Labs. We got some pretty wild stuff, you guys. Are you ready to see it? This is the coolest, most unique piece of merch, piece of clothing that I've dropped ever, and probably one of my most exciting drops of all time. House of Pre Labs has come up with these fire fade hoodies. I am completely obsessed. Like I said, this is probably the coolest thing that I have put out to date. It is wild. We actually started with a bleach dye and incorporated this really cool cross line, cross hatch design as well with the bleach. And then from there, these are custom faded from a pink, magenta fade to a bright orange, all the way to a chartreuse yellow. For these, we've been testing stuff for the past 2 weeks and landed on this. So it'll still have my bright neon yellow embroidery at the front and neon yellow chartreuse kanji on the sleeve. We have 2 other bleach washes that we're going to be coming out with as well, with 2 other shirts. So I'm just really excited about this upcoming launch and wanted to give you guys a sneak peek. I think this design nailed it. I'm obsessed. I love this so much. I'll probably be posting on Instagram first when these go live, so be sure to follow me on Instagram and follow House of Pre on Instagram as well. That is it for this video. We have so many big Corvette videos coming up on this channel soon. We are trying to get that car dialed over the next month. It's probably gonna be right up there with the wildest build that I've ever done before. So I'm really excited to have Nick here full time, which we can tell you guys more about in another video. But that is it for this one, and I will see you in the next video.